Hey everyone, this is Wei and welcome back. Let's do some cartoon drawings, and this time I'll be doing a series of Pokemon characters. So let's get started and I'll talk about the process along the way. Alright, so let's draw some Pokemon, and I'm going to start with Bulbasaur. So with this kind of cartoony drawing, you want to just visualize the basic shapes first. So with Bulbasaur, I'm just going to draw his head, just kind of rough in his head, kind of elliptical, and his body just going to come down. Maybe somewhere around here. It's almost like a little worm shape. And then I'm going to draw his arms. I'm going to roughen his arms. 1, 2. And then his legs, his hind legs. There's one more on the back. And then his little bulb here. Okay, so it's just very simple shapes, right? Just like a little elliptical. So now that we have this, right, you can see how, this simple shape actually represents his whole figure. So now we can go in, let's go into his head and kind of modify a little bit so we can, get the correct shapes. So from that cylinder, now I'm working in the rest of the features. So obviously his mouth is really big, so you can even draw like a line, right over it, even though I know it's going over, but that's kind of how you have to draw cartoons, because, it's very simple, so these lines actually extend. If you extend the line, you get much cleaner lines. And then once you have those lines, now we have a lot of reference points to work from. And we now draw his eyes. Okay, so it might be a little bit taller, and then his ear, one over here coming straight down, kind of meets up to its body. So this is his full head. Okay. Then his ears right here, the other ear. So very simple. Okay, and then let's see, should we do more of the face? Yeah, okay, let's do more of the face. So his eyeballs, looks like a reflection here, and then this is dark. So I'm using a 6B, but you can use whatever, because really it's just cartoon. So now I'm just kind of outlining some of the shapes. And actually, if you're doing this, I know I have these sketch lines pretty dark, and I kind of do it that way because, well, first of all, if I do it too light, you guys won't be able to see it. So normally I would probably draw a little bit lighter, but in this case, this is darker, which is okay, because we can always erase it, or it doesn't really matter. And if you want it nice and clean, I guess you can erase it, but for the purpose of showing you guys, it's actually a little bit easier if I make it darker. Alright, so right now I'm just kind of outlining it, making it a little bit darker, since we know the head is kind of correct. And then these little details in here, I mean, you can do it later or you can do it now. All right, let's just put it in real quick. Alright, once we have this, then we can move on to his rest of the body, and we know his arms right here already because we kind of sketched it in earlier. Alright, and it's kind of accurate, so we're going to do just like that, kind of follow through. Let's see, the tummy's down here, and then his other foot's going to be right here. And you can see I'm not putting in the nails right now, okay? So again, always work from big to small. I'm not going to put in the nails. I probably could have, because nothing else going around the nails, but alright, so here's his hind leg, and there's one more on the back right here. Okay, and then we can do, now we can put in the nails if you want. So there's one here, one on the back, and then one on the front. So it's 3. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. Alright. So very basic. Okay, now we're gonna have to do the bulb. Looks like I've drawn it a little bit too small, right? Should be a little bit bigger, so it'll probably come up all the way back here over to the middle of his head. So I'm gonna readjust everything. Okay. And again, it's okay if it's a little bit off, because this is just a still frame, from the animation, or just kind of, they're drawn very many different ways, and depending on the pose, it's just, it's not really like a 3D animation. So there's a lot of little give and take, All right, so you notice the bulb, I mean, obviously the placement is wrong, right? It should be over the ear, but it still looks like him, right? So that's what I mean, you know, you don't necessarily have to copy exactly as long as you know what's going on. You know he's carrying a bulb on the back, so even if it's not exactly like the reference, it's okay. All right, so now let's do a little bit more patterning here, here, here. One more on the back again. Doesn't need to be exact. All right, so that's pretty much it for Bulbasaur. You can see how simple it is. So pick shapes first and then, you know, go into the little details. And if you want to shade it, yeah, I suppose we could. We can do little lines like this. Like his lower lip here is darker. And we kind of need to outline it. It's kind of like anime style, right? So you kind of just draw in where the line is, the Terminator line. Okay, even that here is a little bit darker. And here, there's a Terminator line right here. So we just kind of outline where the shadow is going to be, and then we just kind of lightly shade around it. Okay, so right here, here. Very simple stuff. So I know it's a little bit basic, you know, obviously it's a cartoon, but the whole process, you know, of drawing big shapes first really applies to everything. All right, so that is my Bulbasaur. All right, let's draw Charmander, and again, very simple. Let's see, head first. I'm gonna roughen his head right around there, and then the body is gonna come down. So I'm just gonna represent it with this kind of very simple egg shape. Okay, and then his arms. Well, we can adjust the egg shape a little bit since it's kind of like that. All right. And then from there, we can do the arms. Come straight out. Another one here. Again, this is just blocking in. All right, his leg's gonna be here. One more leg down here. Okay, and then his tail's gonna come all the way around. And probably to the middle of his body, and here's the little flame. So we don't have to do the little detail. Okay, so very quickly, you can just rough in these kind of shapes. Now we'll go back to the head and let's refine it a little bit. We're gonna try to capture that shape of his head. And again, very big smile. So it's almost like this. A big smile. And it's gonna go up. His eye, one eye's right here. And another one down here. Let me adjust his head a little bit. So with drawing with anything, you know, once you start drawing the little more details, you know, then you can make little adjustments, right? I mean, just like drawing any portraits, like or the more complicated stuff that I've drawn in the past. But the process is still the same, so it's very important. Okay, so now I'm drawing his head. And yeah, don't discount it just because it's a cartoon, because again, if it kind of forces you to you know, work in drawing the correct way, because you really need to get the overall shapes first before you can draw in the little details so that you can get the right proportions. Because with cartoons, it's very easy to get the wrong proportion if you draw it any other way. Okay. Here, probably a little bit tighter. Now let's go down a little bit, and I probably did a little bit too much on the top, right? Because I haven't drawn anything on the bottom yet, but it's okay. Let's see. So I think, yeah, this one is fairly close. This body line coming straight down. Now stop right at the foot. Okay, arc. So very simple shapes. Try to keep these kind of lines going. See, I'm just gonna move across. Even though it goes over, it's okay. You know, just remember, you can always erase it out, and the more important thing is to get the flow, you know, the energy of these lines. And with cartoon, there's a lot of that. You know, these shapes are very simple if you look at it. A lot of it just arcs. Very simple shapes. So sometimes it really does help to just make big overarching lines, kind of like that. I'm coming straight down, right? That gives me a very good guideline And if you see, any of those, like those old Disney masters, drawing Mickey Mouse or Goofy and all those other Disney characters, there's a lot of sketch lines everywhere, and they're so good at it, These guys are amazing. Of course, what they're doing is a lot more complicated because it's not necessarily just the drawing, it's the pose and the animation. That's the hardest part. It's not being able to draw this. This is relatively simple. I mean, anybody can really just kind of copy this stuff, right? But to create something that's very dynamic and tells a story, that's a different game. All right, his tail and his fire, could be a little bit rough, right? It's just kind of like a flame. Try to match it a little bit, but overall, you can do whatever. And some little details, things like that would do. Just keep it simple. And let's see. I think that's about it. So if we want to do some shadowing, let's see, I'm seeing a line here for his head, right? I'm just kind of outlining it, kind of very anime style. And I'm just going to shade it in very roughly, and here, just a little bit of shading. A little bit of shadowing helps. His leg. And it actually helps because it kind of gets rid of some of my guidelines, right? So let's see, his tail's dark here, and then stops there. Fire. Alright, so that would be my Charmander. Alright, let's draw Squirtle. And this one, again, it's kind of like Bulbasaur, right? But he's standing up, so here's his head. Very kind of like actually more like a circle. And then his body, just right around there. So, okay, and then we're gonna do his arm. One arm here sticking out, another arm here sticking out, and then his leg right around here, another one here, and then his tail comes down this way. Maybe a little bit more volume on a shell. So that's about it, right? I mean, just from this, you kind of got the overall shape of the character. So let's move into the head a little bit. So just for, say, his eyes right here, and his mouth. And his mouth, there's a pattern on it, but you can almost just do a straight line first, and then you can do the little dip. So again, simple line first, overarching line first, and then you go in and do the little details. It's a much better way of drawing. Okay, let's see his eyes right here. Doing a little bit of detail. I come over. Another eye right here. And we could do, that's doing a little bit of shadowing there. Let's do the eyeball. Okay, it's got the reflection here, and it looks like it's kind of got this kind of shape going on. Again, these anime eyes is a little bit weird sometimes, but that's how it goes. Okay, now we have the head. Now we can move down to his body. Let's move down. Let's see, big tummy here. Okay, big tummy. A little bit more curvature here. All right, now his arm. Looks like he's got 2 fingers here on the profile, and then one in his thumb kind of coming toward you a little bit, so that's why you get that shape. So here's his other arm. His thumb here, and 2 more fingers up here. Okay, and then we're gonna move down to his leg. Arc. See his legs? It's just really just an arc, right? And his line right here. That's where his foot is. And then he's got this 3 toes or claws or whatever you want to call them. All right, and then here, very simple shape again. And then this time it's just kind of like a, it's kind of coming right at you. So very simple. And then, yeah, let's do his shell a little bit. Okay, looks like here's the outline of his shell. One layer, and then here's the part that comes out. And his tail. Kind of like this kind of shape here. All right. And then his pattern, he's got some pattern going on. Let's see, it's kind of contoured with his body, so you gotta kind of do things a little bit in perspectives. But, you know, compared to a portrait, this is very simple. But you can see, if you compare to the reference, I mean, I'm a little bit off, right, in terms of lines and direction. So it might be simple in terms of the final look, but to get things exact is actually not. So even for like a simple cartoon like this, you know, I can't draw it exactly the same. You know, unless I are much more careful, or, you know, have been doing this for a long time, then I can get those relatively quickly. All right, so let's do some shading here. Real simple shading, doing these lines again. This is dark. This is dark, and then here's a line here. This is dark. And if you're doing this, you know, obviously you can slow down and make some better lines and shading, but I'm just kind of doing it quickly because it's just kind of want to show you the process. I don't want to go into too many details. Okay, 2 more lines here. All right, so that would be my Squirtle. All right, so let's draw Pikachu here. Kind of pretty cool pose. It's kind of having him leap. So I'm gonna do his head. It's gonna be right here, right? So I'm just gonna block it in, and then his body is flying off. So it's kind of like, yeah, almost like this, and then with a little lump here, you know, for his legs. So here, let's see, his arm's gonna be right around here. Another one here, and then his tail is gonna be zigzagging, you know, on the back. We don't have to do that now because we want to get this part correct first. So he's got his ears, okay? So very simple, right? And then now we can go in and actually draw this thing. So face, his head. I'm kind of trying to correct for the shape as I go. Okay, so his mouth is dead center, so we can actually do the mouth first. All right, so it's right around there. Okay, his nose up here, his mouth. And he's got these 2 cheeks right there. And then now we can draw his eyes, because it's actually, you know, the eyes are a lot smaller. Okay, highlight. His nose. All right, so very simple. Big shapes first. Shade his cheek a little bit. Okay, so once we have this, now we can go into his ear. All right, go up. It's basically, let's see, kind of like this, that, right? So very simple shapes. Again, let it arc over, let it go over. It doesn't matter. And it's actually better if you do, you know, because you want to have these kind of free strokes on your hand. What you don't want to do is you don't want to go like this. Right? What you want to do is just arc it. Yeah. Whenever you see an arc, like his body right here, arc it. You know, you can actually pull it all the way straight down because you get a much better line this way. And now I can arch in, right, for his legs. So very, this is a different style of drawing, but it's really good. All right, so you can see how I see these. So I'm trying to make big arcs as much as possible. Here's his arm. Again, big arcs. And then it's got these little fingers. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's just say that's 5. Because I don't want to go too small with these little details, because it really doesn't matter as much. Okay, it's right there. And now we can draw his body. Let's clean that up a little bit. One here, his leg, another one here, then it's got this tiny feet, tiny foot. It's kind of like 1, 2, and 3. And then now we can do, let's see, his tail. All right, his tail is zigzagging. So we see 1, 2, 3, and all the way up. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3. Wait, did I miss one? Yeah, I think I missed one. Okay. Went a little bit too fast for that. All right. Okay, so once we have that, it's a little bit gradation on the tail, so actually helps. So let's just shade that. Let's do a little gradation right there. Okay, so that will actually help to bring out push the tail back a little bit. Just a little bit of pattern going on here. All right, so now we can, go in and darken the lines, and if you want to, want to make it a little bit cleaner. So looking at his shadow, I'm gonna do this line here. Like it's coming down to his arm. So this would be kind of dark. Okay, and then here, a little bit darker, just a little bit. His hands, yeah, much smaller feature. A little shadow, and then for his body, a little bit more shadow here. And this part actually works well because it covers up the sketch lines, right? Okay. So yeah, that's about it. I guess yeah, there's not much else to it. I can always clean up the lines, but I'm not because I've shown you the process already. All right, and so that will be my Pikachu. All right, let's draw Jigglypuff, and this one is very simple. It's basically a circle, right? But circles are actually not that easy to draw, but this is kind of stuff that you learn on first day of drawing class, right? How to draw a circle. All right, so with Wigglypuff, it's basically a circle, and then her eyes somewhere right here, and then she's got a clump of hair. So I'm gonna make that big clump here, and then a small clump, right? Kind of curls in a little bit, and then let's do her ear because that's really one of the bigger features of her. So I'm gonna draw that. Okay, and then once we have the ear with the mouth, then her arm, let's see, somewhere right here, and then her foot right below the eye, right? And then the other arm is right around there. So it's very, very, semi-simple. Right, once we have the circle. Okay, now let's draw in. Let's clean it up a little bit. And let's draw the ear. Let's draw the ear. I was trying to decide which part to do first, but sometimes it's just gotta pick something. So a hair coming down, again, nice big arcs, right? Just kind of very free flow. Trying to keep that that liveliness of the stroke, especially with, again, cartoons. All right, I'm gonna adjust the eyes a little bit. Looks like it's a little bit further apart, so I'm gonna draw in the circle again. Again, ovals are, they might be a little bit difficult, but do it. Just keep doing the round shapes, right? Very lightly, and then eventually you'll get a nice circle. All right, and her eyes, eyeball. Let's see another one in here. Yeah, something like that. All right, let's go back to ear because it's such a big feature. Just yelling out, it's just kind of like calling out at me to, hey, you gotta do this first. All right, so now we got an ear. Let's come down, fix the eye a little bit, and again, all these sketch lines, they can clean them up. Erase some of them if you want, but I'm just gonna keep it because I want to just show you the process of it. You can always be as neat as you want, but arms right here, probably drawn it a little bit too low. And a foot, another foot, and then an arm right here, right below the eye. Okay, and then her mouth. Let's see, got some right here. All right, now we can shade in. Let's put in highlight and shade in the eye. This will really bring it out, give it some life, and clean up the eye line a little bit. very, yeah, my pencil is getting a little bit dull, but I can still do it. Just need to turn my edge a little bit more. Okay, highlight, shade, then clean up the eye a little bit. All right, so that's very, again, you can clean it up a little bit more if you want, but I'm just gonna keep going. Just let's get into features. Okay, here is hair, and then the ear. So it's a lot of shading on the ear. Well, not a lot, but it's the darkest part. So let me show you how you can shade something like this. So, all right, now we have, well, let's clean it up a little bit. So you get some nicer lines, at least some darker ones so you can see a little bit better, right? All right. So your ear, so this is dark, right? Dark. And then there is kind of like a shadowing going on. So I'm going to do a line right there. And then my crosshatch, I'll give you a nice, darker shade right here. Same thing, that. And my crosshatch. So very basic crosshatching, but it works great for this kind of stuff. Okay, and you can actually keep it kind of clean too. So it kind of looks like a anime style, right? He's cartoony. So I'm drawing the shadow here, and it's obviously it's a circle. I mean, it's a sphere, so there's a curvature to it. So I'm drawing in these lines, and now I can shade it in. Okay, so it's kind of rough. Yeah, I think that's about it. It's a very simple character. I keep looking around. Did I miss something? But yeah, so very basic stuff. Very cute looking. All right, so this would be my Jigglypuff. All right, let's draw a Gloom. Pretty funny looking character. I remember watching the episode with my kids. All right, so dividing up his, I guess, features. I'm gonna just do the top. It's gonna represent like I guess 4 of those seeds, and then the bottom. Well, I assume this is a plant, right? So okay. All right. So here's the bottom. This will be pretty much his face, right? So we have these. So it's basically divide up in 2 big sections. So you have the little seeds up here. Okay, and then his face down here, all right? And then the leaves and stuff, kind of like the hair stuff, we can actually skip because, well, I'd rather work on the body. So it's like here, here's the arm, and then leg, all right, actually to foot right there. And then now we can kind of fill in this stuff because this can, kind of vary a little bit. It's one of those features where, it can move around and it will still be the character. That's why I didn't care to do it first. So let's just say, all right, something like that. And then this side, coming down to his hand, and then kind of this one going up. All right, so now very easily we can rough in features like this, and then now we can do his face. So his sad eyes, which is pretty funny. All right, and this guy's mouth kind of goes all the way around, just basically like kind of like a hot dog shape. Kind of open a little bit, and then it's got saliva coming out. I don't know the technical term. Maybe it's some kind of other fluid from this plant. I don't know. So, all right. So now we have these basic features, and now we can actually, well, let's darken up some of the lines then. So this one is fairly simple. So I know, again, this might be simple, but it's actually a really good exercise because it will work on your eye in terms of measuring how you're able to see the forms in a very simplified version of the forms, and that will kind of allow you to draw lots of other stuff. So, I mean, even though this is kind of cartooning, this is very good exercise for drawing in general. So this one kind of curves a little bit. Curves over and under, and then here. This one down. Okay. Yeah, very. So if your proportions are wrong, which will happen when you draw, just try to like rough in the big shapes, and then take a step back and just kind of look at it. Can you try to visualize the placement of things and see if it all kind of lines up, and if it doesn't, then maybe your initial roughing in process is obviously off, and then see if you can rough it in again. That way you can keep correcting it. So, all right, so very simple shading. Let's see. It's a little bit of a kind of like shine to these things. And then these round balls. All right, just kind of round. Just drawing a line. Actually, those coconuts, I think those are coconuts. See, I totally didn't even see these small little dots. Yeah, sorry if I'm not a Pokemon expert. Alright, so here, shadow. So just draw the line, outline the shadow first, and then just go ahead and shade it. And I'm doing it pretty rough, obviously. Okay, very simple shading. Alright, so that would be my Gloom. Alright, let's do Psyduck. This is a really cool character. Actually, it's kind of sad, right? I mean, this guy's having headaches, and I kind of sympathize with that because I get migraines, once in a while. So, all right, so blocking in here's his head, just kind of oval, and then his body is kind of like that, right? That size. So you kind of check the proportions, and then here's his beak, which is really big. So I'm just gonna sketch it in like that. You can actually simplify if you want. Okay, and then it's got one arm. Let's see, coming over here. Another arm over here. Okay, and then let's see, his tail. Let's do his foot right here. Okay, and it's got another foot right here. Yeah, I couldn't help myself. I needed to draw the detail. I should have just done this. All right, so. Okay, so placement, checking to see everything is kind of in the same, proportion, so that and then I can get started. Well, let's start off with the beak, because this is kind of like, it's kind of over everything, right? Everything is kind of behind his beak. So sometimes it's good to draw things that are in front first, so that way we can easily draw the stuff behind it. Okay, so here's the beak. 2 lines. Now I can rough in the head. It's pretty much a round, it's like an egg shape. And then its eyes are kind of like egg shapes too, so. Okay. And it's got that creepy stare. Actually, it's a pretty creepy character. I don't know if it's really funny, to have like headaches all the time, but. Okay. So let's see, that's the arm, and then we could go, well, this part is easy, so we can just do something like that for now. And then let's see, his fingers, got 3 fingers. And then right here, it's kind of like a bell shape, kind of fans out. Ends right around there. And now we can go on with the body. Let's see, let's go on this side. Here's his tummy. And then his foot right here. His tail. See, once we have this body, everything else is just kind of falls into place, right? So once we have some reference points to go with, now we can draw this foot. Okay, so that's pretty much it. And then to shade it, looks like shadow points here. So I'm gonna shade it in like this, and then around the beak. Arm, looks like shadowing here because the beak is going over, that's why you get this. And I know this is quick and dirty. Okay, then this is kind of dark here. Then we can kind of, yeah, let's clean up the lines a little bit. That's darker. Oops. See? I always tend to forget little details. Alright, so that would be my Psyduck. Very cool character. Alright, let's do this Mankey, which is kind of a cool looking character. Alright, so obviously its head and body is the main feature, right? So we can actually just do a circle like that because that's what it is. And then his ear, then his, let's see, his nose right there, and his eye. So again, very rough. Now I can now let's go just do his arm. So he's kind of have it coming out like this. It's very, almost like just tubing cylinders, okay? And then let's see, he's got one leg coming out this way, bends back, his foot, and then we can do the other leg here, and then his foot, okay? So everything is simplified, and I guarantee you start doing this, you can draw any of these Pokemon really easily, or you know, any kind of cartooning, because it really follows the same structure. Okay, now we have this, and now we can go in, or we can go in and put in these digits. All right, so here we can do something like this, very roughly. Let's do a couple of these fingers, very round, right? Kind of like a tiger, that kind of style. Okay, his ear. It's got some flair. So his fur. All right, now we can go in and let's clean up the face a little bit. So, you know, basic structures first. I know I'm kind of repeating myself, but it's worth repeating because it is a very important drawing process. All right, so eye, darker here. Okay. Doesn't look like he has a mouth, probably. Maybe it's under his nose. I don't know. All right, so now we can draw. Well, let's go in and draw his ear. So now this is just really easy. I mean, right? Because we have everything that we need already. We know where everything is, and now we're just kind of following these lines to kind of get a little bit more, you know, finishing up the details on this. Circle. His arm. Nice paws. Now let's do the other side first. Normally I do the left side first, so I don't get my hand over it. I guess it's relatively simple, so it all kind of works. All right. So line here, more fur, then his leg. And when I'm drawing this part, you know, I can always, you know, this is the time to correct for little things. Let's say if I drawn it too, you know, too big or too small, it's just, something's wrong. I mean, this is the time to kind of correct things. Okay, so this recedes backwards. This is digits. More fur. Retracing the tail. Big arcs. Okay. Just try to do as smooth as you can. Yeah, it looks like his face is a little bit off. I think it's okay. Alright, so now we can shade it. Looks like here. Outline these shapes here. And this, you know, these kind of shading just kind of gives it a little bit of dimensionality, right? And his tail is dark, which is good because it's kind of behind, so we want to push that back. Okay, well, actually, he's got some two-tones here. Yes, ear, a little bit more shadowing. Yeah, the two-tone, I mean, so like his paws here, you can make it darker like this. Just kind of give it another, you know, another direction in the cross-hatching, so you make everything darker again. So the shadow would be a little bit darker. All right, so now I'm making this a little bit darker. Okay, so even on the paws right here. Okay, so now you get kind of like a distinction out. This is darker than the body. All right, so that, oh, almost forgot the tail. Alright, so here are all my Pokemons drawn for this one video, and if you do want to see, a specific Pokemon, just let me know, just comment below and I will take that into consideration for my next Pokemon video. So thanks for watching, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you next time.